Welcome to Woman of the Week. I'm sure you've heard the term conflict of interest before. We have a conflict of interest when we stand to lose or gain something based on the decision that we make or the influence we have over someone else, and it could be contrary to someone else's interest. Now, professionally, judges, lawyers, they might recuse themselves, or they are required to recuse themselves of a trial if they feel that they have a conflict of interest. But in our daily lives, we constantly have to make decisions in which we do have a conflict of interest. There are many, many things that come up throughout our life where we're guiding someone, but we have something to stand, we stand to gain or lose based on the decision they make. So my friend was recently telling me about a situation she was in where there's a girl in her daughter's class that's really bullying her daughter, and that mother called her up to ask her, oh, where's your daughter going to sleepaway camp? What do you think about the camp? Do you think my daughter should go there? Do you think it's a good fit? And she was very torn because it's a great camp, but she doesn't really want that woman to send her daughter there. It wouldn't be good for her own daughter. So situations like that, if you're in the market to buy a house, a real estate market, and someone, a friend asks you about a house that you're interested in, or if, let's say, someone calls you as a reference for a job, and you're really interested in that job for yourself, but they're calling you as a reference, or plenty of situations that can come up like that. And the question is, how do we deal with this, right? How do we deal with our own conflict of interest? Because we don't have that luxury of recusing ourselves from the decision, right? This is life. We've got to make the decision. So let's take a look at this week's Woman of the Week and see what we can learn from Rachel Imenu. Yaakov loved Rachel and wanted to marry her and made a deal with her father Lavan that he's going to work for 7 years, and in return, he will get to marry Rachel. And that's what happened. And after 7 years, Lavan made this beautiful feast and wedding celebration. And the only little tiny detail that he switched around was that instead of giving Yaakov Rachel to marry, he gave him Leah, the older daughter Leah. And obviously, that's not such a minor detail to switch the bride. The thing is, Yaakov and Rachel already knew Lavan's personality, knew the fact that he was very tricky, and according to Rashi, they were anticipating such a situation might occur, and so they created these signs for each other, special secret signs so that they could signal, so that Rachel would be able to signal to Yaakov that she is indeed Rachel and that the right bride is before him. So what actually ended up happening, because Yaakov did marry Leah, and he did not find out until the morning with the light that he saw, oh my goodness, I got Leah, not Rachel. So how did that happen? So according to Rashi, Rachel gave Leah the signs. Rachel saw that Leah would be so humiliated. It would be there would be so much shame when she, in front of this whole wedding of people, she would approach the chuppah and not have the secret signs, and then Yaakov would refuse to marry her. There would be so much humiliation that Rachel decided the right thing to do is to give Leah the secret signs, and that's what she did to spare her sister the humiliation. And obviously, there's tremendous conflict of interest here, and it was a very selfless decision on Rachel Imenu's part. And the question is, how did she do this? How was she able to overcome her own selfish, it's not even selfish, but her own obvious interests for the sake of her sister's humiliation? And I think the answer is really the idea of asking yourself, what would Hashem want? What does Hashem want from me? Rachel was able to take herself out of the picture because she lived for Hashem. We learn in Pirkei Avos, Aseh ritzono kirtzoncha. Make Hashem's will what your will is. You should make it that you want to do what Hashem's will is. So Rachel Imenu lived by this, and she took herself out of the picture and was able to see this is what Hashem would want. Hashem wouldn't want my sister to be humiliated. And so she was able to remove herself and act on that. And I think this is the guide for us in all of these types of decisions that we have when we have this conflict of interest, where we have what we want versus the way we're supposed to guide someone else or what's in someone else's that we love's best interest, or even if we don't love them and they're just our fellow Jew. And I think we have to constantly have that reminder that in our minds that what's my goal? My goal is to do what Hashem wants for me. My goal is to do what Hashem's will is. Atzei ritzono k'ritzoncha. This week, let's live that lesson from Rachel Imenu. And when we're faced with different decisions where we feel pulled in different directions, let's pause and ask ourselves, what does Hashem want us to do? Let me know how it goes. I'd love to hear from you.